Hi, I'm Mollie, Chef Mollie, farming with Chef Mollie here on Sow A Heart Farm. This is our fence line vineyard. So if you look all the way along all of our fence lines, we're growing wine grapes. They don't take up any space, but we have 1,500 vines in the ground and they're doing amazing. If you look here, this is gonna be the third year and they're really already getting big. These are the red wine grapes. They are more susceptible to powdery mildew, and you can see it's already happening here as some of these grapes are not getting enough sunlight. What you want is to make sure that the grapes are in the sun and that you don't want them putting energy into putting more flowers and more flowers. This is a rudder that we should have cut off when it was younger. If you get them young enough, they just snap right off, but we don't want them making more grapes. They're already deep into making these grapes. This is the grapes for the season. You want to break off those rudders and make sure that there's plenty of airflow around the grapes. You want a little bit of shade, but mostly you want the grapes to be in the sun, having lots of airflow so you don't get powdery mildew. Here, it's sort of the same concept with like tomatoes. You're going to take these rudders off, and if you break them right at the part where there's a little ball, they break off really easily. And then you get those out of there so that the plant can focus on the fruit that it's already formed down here, and also make sure that they don't get powdery mildew. Airflow, 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 it's super important, as well as light coming in. You can just break them off right where they're starting a new segment. They break off really, really easily. But you see these rudders are making more grapes. We don't want that to happen. We break them off. You can see we've already done this once and now it's shooting new trimmers. So you gotta do it again. It's not a one-time job. You wanna prune grapes as soon as the flowers have set to give the plant a chance to put energy into those. And then you wanna do a second pruning when the fruit is getting a little bit bigger to make sure there's plenty of airflow and plenty of light getting onto the grapes so that they ripen evenly and at the same time, because you want them to all be ready at the same time for wine. You can't really freeze wine grapes and then make the wine later. This is an example of powdery mildew rooting the grapes. You can see it here on the leaves. You can see it here on the grapes. This is what you do not want to have happen. This year it seems like our red wine grapes have been more susceptible to the powdery mildew than our white wine grapes. You definitely want to take the powdery mildew leaves off. We don't spray for powdery mildew, so at this point it's maybe just trim this tree back to healthy leaves and take all the affected fruit off and wait for it next year. When it seems like it's 4 or 5 trees that are affected, we should cut all the leaves, cut all the grapes that are affected, and hope that it doesn't continue to spread. But it's an airflow issue. We got guavas too close right here. We probably didn't trim it back soon enough and early enough. Right here, it's not affected at all, just right next to it. These are all still red wine grapes. For year 3, we have a lot of grapes on our vines. We're really, really lucky. Next year, we're gonna put a second wire here and we'll start training a second row of grapes up above, because these plants are so prolific. They're really throwing a lot of grapes for very young vines. These are table grapes. They're not quite ripe, just like that traditional seedless red grape you would see in the grocery store. And these ones, we pruned it really early on, and so there's lots of light, lots of airflow. These ones, we don't really care if they all get ripe at one time because we're just eating them. We've already harvested the first flowers, and these are some of the secondary flowers making grapes now, because it doesn't matter with the table grapes if they all come ready at the same time. This is the Thompson's seedless, and I don't know what that one is, but these are all of our table grapes along here, not wine grapes. But same concept, we used a fence line. They're on the fence and you can see it works really beautifully. These are the white wine grapes and they look great. They're doing amazing here. Here are some suckers that are starting to try to do new flowers, which would not come at the same time, so we don't want that. And we don't want that. You can see here's the original trim where they took it off and then some suckers still grew out. make more light for these guys. And same up here. We don't want the secondary flowers. But if you were just gonna have grapes for eating, it's great for them to make a second set of flowers. This is all white wine grapes along here. These guys look great. You can see, again, it's a 3-year-old vine. There's grapes on both sides of the fence here, and it's prolific amounts of grapes. This will be the first year that we're gonna make wine, because usually you don't make wine in the first couple years of your grapes. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of all the grapes we have here growing on Sow A Heart Farm. Like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you want to know about what's going on here at Sow A Heart Farm.